stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name's Dave Miller. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy. Now, as I record this on February the 18th, 2019, there's been quite a bit of political activity in the past week in the United States of America, which I have commented on in other venues and which has made a few people angry. I fully intend to address that in the show, but for reasons of time constraints, that's going to have to wait. For now, we're going to jump right into Part 5 of my closer examination with Brexit, assisted this time by the host of the English Defense League radio show, Jeff Mitchell, where we get into the mood of the public regarding Brexit and more political shenanigans and skullduggery on the part of the left to try and block Brexit, and even a little bit of hope. Have to explain something first, though. In the last show, I said that you would be hearing from Jan Rennie this time. Well, I was a bit mistaken there. Jan was unable to join us for the January the 27th edition of the English Defense League radio show, so it'll be just Jeff and myself, but I don't think you'll be disappointed. There's a lot of good information in here that you likely won't get in the fake stream media in the United States of America, and we're going to do what we can to tie this to issues that concern you, and to show you how important the nation of the United Kingdom's struggle to free itself from a superstate is to people in the United States of America. And don't worry, next time, and for the last two portions of this series, you're going to hear Jan Rennie along with Jeff Mitchell and myself. And I can tell you this, folks, Jan Rennie is going to be at her Jan Renniest, and it's going to be something you're not going to want to miss. And remember, as always, I'll try to have source documents up at UBG Contact on Twitter. That's where you can contact me with comments, questions, show suggestions, Awesome American suggestions. I'm also reachable as Dave Milner on Facebook, the Tea Party Community in MeWe, and a Magador on Gab. And now, let's begin with Part 5.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the English Defense League radio show, broadcasting live on blogtalkradio.com. The English Defense League radio show, the truth and the voice of the EDL. So before I bring my panelist in tonight, I will just read out our statement. The English Defense League radio show, of course I put out EDL, a way of life, no surrender ever. Welcome to the English Defense League radio show with your host, that's me, Jeff Spider Mitchell, and our panellists this evening are Jan, the Tornado Rennie. Well, unfortunately, Jan is on an assignment, so she can't join us this evening, but I have good authority, the possibility we might have Jan join us this Thursday. And of course, my my wingman and panellist tonight is Mr. Dave Agador Milner. Tonight we will be talking about EDL-related issues with special focus on Brexit and yet another horror from the death toll, Islam. For soldiers, angels, supporters and global patriots, this show is your voice and platform. No surrender ever. And with that further, I will now pass the mic to Dave Agador Milner. Good evening, Dave, my dear friend. I hope you are well this evening or this afternoon. My dear friend.
Yes, and Jeff, yes, good evening to you and good afternoon to everybody in the States. Good evening to everybody in the UK. Yeah, very well, nice and warm. I understand that some of the cold weather we were having, you guys are now enjoying in the UK. A little bit of freshness in the air over there, you know.
I thought it was going to be extra cold today. I'll be honest,
right.
Dave, I've had to open the window because it's quite warm. Maybe it's my heating or
wow.
something. I've had to open the window. So, you know, I don't know, maybe in Ipswich it's, you know, a bit of a tropical area. But it's very windy,
there you
Dave.
go. Oh, yeah. Now, they did say that in the weather. I was looking at the paper for over there, and they were saying 55-mile-an-hour winds are possible, and you guys could possibly be facing power cuts and things like that because of it. So, to everybody in the UK, guys, I'm wishing you the best and sending you some prayers because power cuts are not good at any time of the year. During the winter,
55-mile-an-hour winds, it's not structural damage, but I suppose if you got trees that's been taking a bit of a battering, possibility that you might have some of them blow over.
Oh, yeah. It's bad enough,
I don't think, because they always give a pre-warning of structural damage and this, that, and the other, tiles falling off roofs, etc.
Right.
But you're probably more up to scratch on the news than I am, but okay, it's a bit windy here where I am, but I can't really complain. It's not cold, Dave. It's not freezing or anything. No snow, not like up north and that. Because we're like in the middle, like East Anglia, where I am.
Sure, yeah.
We're like central. Well, London's central to everything, isn't it? But where I am, East Anglia is basically central. If you look at it on the map, that's the way the map rolls, But no, it's not too bad here. But my goodness me, there's all sorts of weather storms going on where the news is concerned, isn't it, Dave? Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah,
As
absolutely,
usual.
man.
I think we've had a company show with nothing to talk about. I think all the years we've been doing this radio show, we've never not had anything to talk about.
Oh, yeah. And usually, and this week is no different, we've actually got more to talk about than we have time for. Big news in the States, big news in the UK. In the UK, since Thursday, it looks like the snake pit that is Parliament is, hissing away, trying to find ways to block Brexit and everything. And, we've got stories about that.
Where's Guy Fawkes when you need him, Dave? Where's our Guy Fawkes?
Well, yeah.
Or V for Victory, that film. Where's our Guy Fawkes?
Well, I really think it's the people, Jeff. I really think it's because I read somewhere in one of these, and, I have to agree with it, that what you've got now, even though the government is trying all these scare tactics, you've got a Leave population and a Remain parliament. A parliament just like our U.S. Congress that is exactly at odds with the people and determined
similar, isn't it,
to do
Dave?
things.
Very similar.
Yeah, it is.
A situation we both find ourselves in, isn't it, mate?
Certainly, yeah, it is. And that's, again, for people listening on the Unpleasant Blind Guy, because we're going to be using these as part of a Brexit special on my end, on the Unpleasant Blind Guy, through SHR Media on Spreaker.com. The situation is very similar. I mean, this is an ongoing part of this because in both countries, the left are wanting do-overs until they get things the way they want, and the people don't want that. And I'm going to play about a 30-second audio here, Jeff. This one was from the 18th of this month, and this was question time, and they were having it in Derby, okay? Now, question time, and Jeff, you can fill people in a little bit more about what question time is basically a panel program where they get in, a BBC, I think it is, panel program, where they get in front of an audience, a local audience, and they talk about the issues, right? And Jeff and Jan don't watch Question Time because they say it just raises their blood pressure. But
it's the left side of things. They've always got a lefty audience there. So it's, although people do stand it, but myself personally, I know Jan's do it. Well, there's nothing that I listen to on there that make me watch the programme. It is the BBC, for goodness sake, Dave.
Well, yeah, that is true, Jeff. Long fallen from being what they used to be. But something very interesting happened on the 18th in Derby when they had question time there. And guys, give this a listen. This is about 30 seconds. Here we go.
Well, the answer, look, I can save everybody a lot of time here.
It's been 2 years, so
the short answer is no, there isn't, and that is why it seems to me the only option for Theresa May now, and I'm going to admit that it is a suboptimal position, is to walk away. That is all she can do.
So to leave with no deal?
Yes, absolutely, because there isn't an alternative.
Isn't that crowd,
Well, yeah.
Jeff, and listeners?
Yeah, I mean, now that is a different... I mean, you could hear the cheer of people really wanting a no-deal Brexit. We don't need deals. Whoever was in the audience, I think, most people are thinking common sense. That's the way when I heard that cheer, that was the sort of cheer I would have cheered, because we don't want a deal or no deal. We want a no deal, should I say. A hard Brexit, and that is the way that we voted for. That's what we voted for. We didn't vote for what the politicians are telling us. No, but they should go along with the people's, the referendum, the people spoke, and you cannot go against the people. That is unconstitutional, it's undemocratic, and there will be trouble on the streets if they go against our word. And you've been seeing the rise of what's going on across this country. People are pushing it now, and I'm not going to take that. There's no way, and there will be a crisis in politics in this country if this is allowed to fester, and for the left and the Remainers get their way, because there will be no peace in this country, no peace. Our democratic rights are being trod on, and we will not have that, the people's country. And I speak of myself, but I think I'm speaking of a majority of people, 17.5 million, who voted no deal Brexit, hard Brexit. Out means out. And we said it on the other shows, haven't we, Dave? Out means out.
Certainly, yes.
See, there you go, Dave. I mean, that's my own personal thoughts about it, but I think I'm in lockstep with most of the people that voted the way I voted, and my next-door neighbours, etc., you know?
Well, Jeff, I was speaking to Jan earlier this morning because she had to go off to assignment, and what she said, I think, was very prescient. It's what we've all been saying, or you guys have all been saying, certainly, which is that the vote was not for a deal, the vote was not for a delay, the vote was for leave. No. So that's what the vote was for. It wasn't for any of these shenanigans that the left are putting up and trying these various little things to stop. The left lost. But as with elections in the United States and everything, you know, this seems, Jeff, I'll tell you what this reminds me of, not the wall. It reminds me of the 2000 election. Immediately when the left found out that Al Gore lost, you had idiots out on the street with big signs saying, we want to re-vote. No. You get one bite at the apple, and you guys lost. Okay? But the left has to do that.
You're so right on that. You get one chance. You don't have two elections to get it right, because you didn't get it right the first time. You have one chance for an election, and that's it. And you've got to go with what the people says. The people says, you know, that so-and-so's won the election, so be it. But we are having people out there trying to alter the goalposts, aren't we, Dave? We are seeing them trying to change, your constitution, basically. They're trying to do things like that. It goes against what your forefathers, which are Bills of Rights on, Dave. And
certainly.
Everything is treading all over you good people.
Well, you've got unconstitutionalism going on in both countries. You've even got Beto O'Rourke over here in the United States. In Texas, which I'm born and raised there, so I'm kind of ashamed of this guy. I don't think he's announced as a candidate for president yet, but that's definitely in the cards. And he actually came out and said, well, he's not sure our Constitution works anymore. And you see that in the UK with these maneuvers to try and negate the Brexit vote there, which was constitutionally called for, taken and counted and decided. But for the lefties, that isn't good enough. They think this comes right back to class, Jeff, as you and Jan and so many of the people who we played audios from and things have said all along. They sneer at everyone that isn't them. It's no wonder that they get so along well with the Mohammedans, because they have this apartheid attitude between themselves and everyone else because they think they're better. And you have a similar attitude in the United States, which our country started on the premise that there would be no classes, but you wouldn't notice that from some of the things that you're hearing from the lefties. I'm going to read a story, Jeff. This is an example, guys, of what's going on now. It's going to be a very vital vote on Tuesday, and this is going to determine whether there's going to be a delay in Brexit or what. But this sets it up. This sets some of it up. This is out of the Mail Online, and you can find this online if you look for it. It's Battle of the Brexit Blockers. Theresa May faces an all-out assault on Tuesday's critical Commons vote as hundreds of MPs try to grab control and delay Britain's departure from the EU. And this story, as I say, is from the Mail Online. It's by Harry Cole and Brandon Carlin for the Mail Online on Sunday. Now, here's the subheads, the bullet points. More than a dozen amendments, that's how they wrote it, folks, have been tabled for Brexit update to Commons. Number 2, Downing Street fears that Speaker John Bercow will side with the Brexit blockers. Number 3, Theresa May is expected to demand changes to the Northern Irish backstop. Now, that one's important, guys, and Jan joins us on Thursdays. I've asked her to please expand on that a little bit more because that could really mean blood on the streets immediately. And number 4, a major threat to Brexit is Labour's Yvette Cooper's amendment that would let Parliament seize control of Brexit if Mrs. May does not pass a deal by next month. Okay? So they're already starting with these maneuvers like this, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and start reading this. Theresa May faces an all-out assault on Tuesday as hundreds of Brexit blocker MPs try to grab control and delay Britain's departure from the EU. The Prime Minister is braced for a series of crippling attempts to destroy her wafer-thin grip on the Commons from Labour and Tory Remainers. Well, it's Remainers, but I'm going to say Remainers. With Downing Street expecting defeat over its battle to keep a no-deal option. That's bad. More than a dozen amendments have been tabled for the Brexit update to the Commons that was forced on Mrs. May by Tory Remainer Dominic Grieve, who is a great big steaming pile of crap as I scroll down. Okay, that's not in the story. That's just me. And Downing Street fears that Speaker John Bercow will side with the Brexit blockers by ignoring attempts by Mrs. May to use her own amendments to unite her party and her DUP allies behind changes to her Brussels deal. That's what a speaker in a legislative body can do. Mrs. May is expected to give ground on Brexiteer demands to return to the EU and demand changes to the Northern Irish backstop, with several backbench amendments tabled. Amendments with government support would usually be called by the Speaker, but Mr. Bercow has repeatedly shown he is prepared to, here it is, guys, he is prepared to ignore such conventions. So Theresa May can put forward all the amendments she wants, but if this Speaker douchebag decides that he doesn't like what she's got, he doesn't even have to bring it up. One Downing Street insider said they would be pleasantly surprised if Mr. Bercow lifted so much as a finger to help with Mrs. May facing the nightmare of being sent back to Brussels negotiating chamber naked. That's what they said, negotiating chamber naked. I'm guessing, in other words, without the support of the Parliament. A separate government source warned it would be tin hats on should the Speaker fail to call a helpful amendment, a move that would trigger major uproar on the government benches, which that would be true. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit, guys. Last night, some MPs were even urging an orchestrated Commons walkout to try and destroy Mr. Bercow's authority. That may be the only thing they could do, Jeff. Now I'm going to read more. A major threat to Brexit has also emerged from Labour's Yvette Cooper, whose amendment would let Parliament, here we go, guys, seize control of Brexit if Mrs. May does not pass her deal by next month. That's those other maneuvers that we were talking about. The former Work and Pension Secretary, whose husband, Ed, oh my God, you can't make this stuff up, guys, whose husband, Ed Balls, was Shadow Chancellor, will this week seek to move an amendment that could push Brexit back from March 29 to the end of the year. Okay, so you look for that possibility when we come back on Thursday, folks. But analysis by Change Britain campaign, which is pro-leave, shows almost 90% of those supporting Ms. Cooper's attempt to seize power have backed previous attempts to water down or halt Brexit. Well, that's obvious. 38 of the 103 signatories voted against starting the process to leave the EU, and 43 represent constituencies that voted leave. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that last bit. Okay? And 43 represent constituencies that voted leave. So they're basically betraying their own constituencies. I'm going to continue. Mrs. Cooper sparked fury. Ms. Cooper, pardon me, madam, sparked fury both from Labour voters and her leave-supporting Yorkshire constituency and pro-Brexit MPs over her bid to delay the UK's departure, like she gives a rat's behind. The plan has sparked fear among Brexiteer MPs because, unlike other rebel amendments to block a no-deal Brexit, Ms. Cooper's motion could lead to the Prime Minister being legally obligated via a cross-party bill to postpone the departure. See, this is getting a little bit more into the nitty and the gritty of what they're trying to do. Okay, yesterday, Leave-supporting Labour MPs joined with Brexit-backing voters in Ms. Cooper's constituency to condemn her move. Well, that makes them look good, but I can guarantee they'll still back delaying Brexit. Manchester MP Graham Stringer, who backed Ms. Cooper when she ran for the Labour leadership in 2015, urged her to think again. He said, I would ask her to reflect that not only her own constituency, but the whole country voted, here you go, Jeff, by a clear majority to leave. If we betray Brexit, the Labour vote in our northern heartlands is likely to go down at the next election, not up. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, how'd you figure that one out, Sherlock? But anyway, I'm going to continue. That may not be obvious to our Labour colleagues in metropolitan Remain voting London, but it's clear as a pikestaff to Northerners like me. Fellow Labour Brexiteer Kate Hoey, MP for Vauxhall, said most of the supporters of the Yvette Cooper amendment are MPs who want to stop us ever leaving. Again, there's an obvious statement right there. Ms. Cooper's seat of Normanton, Pontefract, and Castleford voted massively for Brexit, with more than 69% of votes backing leave in the referendum. A petition has already been launched locally to get the MP deselected as official Labour candidate at the next election. The trouble is, they may be able to do that, but the damage will already be done. One retired worker from the seat, Dennis Spake, age 76, said, I voted for Yvette Cooper, but I don't agree with what she's doing now. I see it as a betrayal. And that, Jeff, that's from a lefty, all right? That's very significant, folks. Ms. Cooper yesterday denied she was out to block Brexit, oh, cut me a prick, saying her plans for a cross-party bill would just allow, quote, Parliament to decide if we need more time to avoid a no deal. Oh, she's not trying to block Brexit, but she wants to avoid a no deal. That is Brexit. Okay.
Well,
right, Jeff.
She
that's
might
the story,
think
brother.
the people are stupid, Dave. She might think her constituents are stupid and they'll go along with her way of thinking. But she's wrong. These are Brexiteers, hardcore Brexiteers. And if she goes and does something so stupid as that, basically her career as a politician is over. They would never, ever. And I know what a Northerners are like, Dave. My mother was a Northerner, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
you go against the people of the North, mate. That's it. You're gone. And she should think seriously before she commits anything that could cause her constituents who voted heavily in favour of Brexit, if she goes against the will of the people, then she's gone. That's it. Her days are over. She might as well take up knitting classes or something like that. Because it's so serious. I don't think these politicians quite understand the implications behind this. Go against the will of the people, Dave. And as I say, it is against their peril to do that. What don't they care? Do they think that the people will not take things seriously? They're wrong. They're so wrong. They just don't get it, do they, Dave? What's this world that they live in? You know, well, we know it's the globalist, elitist type of a lifestyle they lead. But in the real world, the hardcore, the feet on the ground people, you go against them. That's it. Oh, my goodness me. Especially, the old bulldog spirit in this country. You go against that, and you're done. You're dusted. You're finished. You know, we'd kick you out of the country even. You do something like that against the people. We'll banish. It's like they used to do in the old times, Dave. Banish them. Banish them to Syria or something like that.
Oh, actually, that wouldn't be a bad place. Actually, I think that's a great idea. Maybe we should get hold of Assad and ask him if he wants some extra people. Or, better yet, maybe Saudi. That might be a good place. Or Jordan.
Venezuela, something like that, yeah.
Venezuela, yeah, there's a possibility.
Venezuela, aren't they? The socialist. She'd have a great time out there.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a place to go for action and adventure, so I've been told, Dave.
Yeah. There's plenty of action, that's for sure, man.
Dave, I want to ask you, I know we got slightly a little bit to the side of the Brexit, but I'm just wondering, I know the so-called president who's in charge of this country at the moment been outvoted and they got another one.
This really shows, Jeff, you called it earlier. You said this is the year of the Patriots. And the people of Venezuela, they had this brief love affair with socialism, and it hasn't worked. And they are determined to kick these people out. And,
can point to, when people say about socialism, Dave, we'll say, well, how socialism works out in Venezuela at the moment. You've got a dictator. There's people being killed and murdered on the streets. So-called socialism, and people are having to eat animals from the zoo. That's socialism working out there. That's a template for the rest of the socialist type of countries like we live in. It doesn't bode well, does it, Dave?
Well, no, it doesn't. But the situation down there is not going to get any better until they have a fundamental change in the type of government that they have. That's going to be the deal with Venezuela, I think. But back to the Brexit thing. This whole thing sets up what I was talking about with members of Parliament who are trying to use maneuvers and things, parliamentary procedures, to block Brexit. Now, Parliament should never have had a say in this at all in the first place, not in my opinion. In my opinion, the people had their say, and it was up to the government. And when I say the government, I mean the Tory party, the leading Prime Minister and her cabinet, to deliver on Brexit. Parliament should have never been involved in any of it. But what happened? Well, we found that Parliament did decide it wanted to get involved in it. Because, of course, a lot of people in Parliament wanted Remain. And Jeff asked a question, what could be the reason why some of these people from other parts of the UK would possibly go along with some of this stuff that could even end their local careers. And I think a good deal of it has to do with swamp fever, because it's pretty obvious that in the UK, just as in the United States, they have their own swamp. It's these posh surroundings in London, and they're right there with all of their lefty-wefty friends, and they're talking about all these high-flown ideas that they have, like the socialism that Jeff was mentioning, and thinking about the world the way that their perfect socialist utopian world, and they want to stuff that down the people's throats, and they forget where they come from. A good example, I think, for my American brothers and sisters, would be Hillary Clinton when she was living in Arkansas with Slick Willie Clinton when he was governor. She hated Arkansas. She hated the people in Arkansas. She spoke extremely rudely to, for instance, their protection team of Arkansas state troopers. She felt like she was above them. She didn't want to be there. She wanted to be on the national scene. She wanted to be where she is now, New York. She felt like she was just so much better than the people that were supporting her at the time that Bill Clinton was governor. And this is the same thing going on in Parliament. You have this Yvette woman who, honestly, Jeff, I don't believe that she really gives a rat's furry behind what anyone in her constituency says or thinks about what she's going to do about Brexit. She is determined to do things her way and to hell with everyone else because she's got swamp fever.
Oh, I like that, Dave. I like that. Swamp fever. Great stuff, mate. Yeah, I like that.
Now, for you guys in the UK, you may or may not know about this. They called D.C. the swamp because the District of Columbia, the actual city of Washington, D.C., was built on a swamp. That was an integral part of the Potomac River. Trust me, guys, it is still bloody miserable in the summertime there. Heat, humidity is horrible. But it's gotten better over the years and everything, but the place is still built on top of a swamp, and that's why they call it the swamp. Now, I do know that, of course, the House of Commons is right next to the Thames River. And, you know, as rivers do, it would overflow and stuff like that. So it wasn't necessarily a swamp that it was built on. But one thing we know for sure, Jeff, is that when the Parliament House was built, there were plenty of rats going along the river, and now I think some of them are in Parliament. A very interesting thing,
Jeff.
They
just morphed into politicians, Dave, haven't they? Politicians.
They've got 2 legs now instead of 4.
Done an Harry Potter, Dave?
There you are. Yep, exactly. Something interesting, Jeff, that I read in there was that there is a thought, and I don't know if they're going to pursue this, but it might be the only way to shut down the Speaker and keep him from ignoring Mrs. May's amendments. There's a thought of a possible walkout to take this guy's authority away. Now, I don't know how much good that would do, but it's going to be very interesting to see in the next couple of days what comes of that, if anything.
Well, everyone there's something in it because then the Speaker just hasn't got the power to call order when people are totally ignoring what he had to say. Basically, I think this is a strategy. It's got to be a strategy. It's been talked about. It's quite obvious there's a strategy there. And there's a point of order, a point of law that they can do that. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been suggested, I don't think, Dave, quite honest with you, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, we found this out a few days ago that the left were going to try various maneuvers through parliamentary procedure in the UK legislature, in the Parliament, to find ways to delay Brexit and things of that nature. So certainly the Brexiteers would be thinking of ways that they could counter that. But it is, I think, diabolical, Jeff, for the Speaker of Parliament to go ahead and forward amendments by Ms. Cooper and these people and ignore the ones from Theresa May. Evidently, he has that kind of power.
He does his own power as well, Dave. He does his own power as well. And I know he's been up to dirty tactics. He's been exposed to what he really is all about. It's going to come out soon, Dave. There's a lot on that bloke, and you'll be hearing about him very soon, pal. Take it from me.
I'm sure, Jeff, but I want people to understand. I don't think people really quite understand, some don't, Jeff, that this particular moment in history is significant. This is a very significant moment in the history of the UK, in the history of the West, and in the history of civilization. And that's why I'm making it a part of my show, because it will help to answer the question, who does and who does not support a people's right to declare sovereignty for their own nation. I think this is a massively important historical events going on here.
Well, of course, Dave, we would agree. It's always the people. It's not about politicians. It's the people for the people. And if you voted for a politician to speak on your behalf and they speak against you, then basically you don't deserve to be an MP because they voted for you to speak on their behalf. And if you don't do that, then they just need to have you ejected and to find someone who will speak on the behalf of the people. That's what it all comes down to, Dave. That's politics, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is, Jeff. And this next one, I honestly have never heard of this person. And I will say that Jan has said that she's going to check this person out a little bit, check out their background a bit. You know what, Jeff? I am going to give this one to you if you'd like to read it, okay? And as Jeff opens that up, guys, I'm just going to tee this one up for you just so you know what this is. This is an article, again, from the Mail Online. This is by Brandon Carlin for the Mail Online Sunday. This is another one of his. It was updated yesterday, and when Jeff gets it ready to go, he's going to read it for you.
The headline is, ladies and gentlemen, Tory Brexit hardliners back ex-work and pension secretary Esther McVey as leaves true believer to succeed Theresa May. The move comes from members of the party's European Research Group. Members fear Chairman Jacob Rees-Mogg has gone soft on exit from the EU. Esther McVey emerged as champion after joining Stand Up Brexit campaign. Well, that's good. That's good to see. Tory arch Brexiteers are backing Esther McVey's as leaves true believer to succeed Theresa May. It was claimed last night. The move by members of the party's European Research Group comes amid fears that its chairman, Jacob Rees-Mogg, has gone soft as on a genuine exit from the EU. Ex-Work and Pension Secretary Ms McVey has emerged as the champion of Leave voting Tories after joining the Stand Up for Brexit campaign, which aims to sink Mrs May's deal with Brussels. Interesting, I've got to admit. Now heading ERG members had signalled his backing for Miss McVey for writing on the ERG's private WhatsApp group, Please Support Esther. Great job and well done. Hashtag Stand Up for Brexit. Yeah, it's quite catchy, isn't it, that day?
Yeah.
One Tory insider said, we've taken that as a signal that when it comes to having a real Brexiteer once May's gone, it's got to be a true believer like Esther. However, she has been dubbed a blow dry by Tory critics who cruelly claimed looking after her hair was the only thing she knows how to do.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Dave. That's funny. To do well. That line just got me. I'm sorry, Dave. It's really
she does have nice hair. She does have nice hair, folks. I will say that. She does. So go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Mr. Rees-Mogg has denied going soft on Brexit. He's just always been that way.
Right. Exactly.
It's getting a bit personal now. I must
there you are, Jeff. Yeah, perfect, man. I love that. Go ahead, bro.
I'm done with that day. And there was a great couple of lines at the end of it, which really made me giggle. She's
oh,
quite
that's
an
true, Jeff.
looking woman. I've got to admit, though, they're very nice.
Well, yeah,
I'd buy her a
that,
cup of tea and a cat. I would.
Oh yeah, certainly. Well, no, so would I, man. So would I. You know, a tea cup, whatever you want. But I mean, that's the thing. I think it's interesting what these other Tory MPs are saying about her, because what's in the story is fascinating in that it doesn't say who the Tory MPs are that are talking about her just taking care of her hair as the number one priority, whatever. You have to wonder if it isn't some of these people that are agreeing with Rees-Mogg and are actually Ramoners, right? If she
you don't
is
know in
genuine,
politics, and they can be
no, you do not.
like a cat fighting. You know what I mean? They're like that. Politicians are like that, Dave.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, Jeff, they are. And the thing is, though, it's less about her hairstyle and more about whether she is a genuine Brexiteer, and even more, Jeff, about whether or not she can get the support she needs to become Prime Minister if she is real. And I have to say, I can't wait, honestly, until Thursday so we can get a little bit of analysis from Jan on this woman. Because I know she'll dig.
I don't really know too much about her. I know she's very attractive. And
yeah. Well, that's obvious.
But she's
Jeff,
a politician.
Yeah.
So, you know, beauty's only skin deep, isn't it, Dave? So they say, you know.
Amen,
what makes
brother.
your heart sick and all that, you know?
Yeah, preach on, man. That's true. And we've heard these songs before by politicians. Oh, I'm on the people's side.
Yeah.
Usually this happens.
Sheep's clothing, Dave. The old story, Dave, as we've
very possible. Well,
other people.
Jeff, I mean, look at. Okay, great example here. Look at Nigel Farage. Okay, everybody likes Nigel Farage because of Brexit, and then he came out and said just the vile things that he did about Tommy Robinson, and he showed his true color, and it wasn't just there.
The thing that got Farage is a vanity thing, because he thinks he's so cool, you see. And Mr. Robinson, his popularity is massive. Farage could never, or any politician, anybody in that sphere of life, ever do anything like what Mr. Tommy Robinson has done. The sacrifices he's had to make, the pressure that he's been under, and his family. I mean, Farage, you know, he's not got one iota of what Tommy Robinson's got in his little finger. Certainly. No competition whatsoever. And that is why it's all a jealous and a vanity thing with some of these politicians, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And let's not forget, he is one of the Jolly Boys. He is a part of the Jolly Boys Club, or he says he is or
he
not.
Talks like one.
You know.
He talks like one, Jeff. We heard him. I do believe that we did play this audio where this gentleman interviewed Farage, and Farage started all this mess. Oh, well, how many Muslims do you want to kill? And all the guy was asking him about was his seeming support for Islam now. And he just immediately attacked the guy, implying that the interviewer wanted to commit genocide against Mohammedans, which he was not talking about that at all. Just using these douchey political tricks. At the end of it saying, well, and some of them vote for me. You combine that with what he said about Tommy Robinson, and right there you have someone who appeared to be really great at first with Brexit, all of that.
And then he's got to go down a dark path and speak about a true legend and a great gentleman that way. He's lost so much support, loads of support from that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it tells you everything. Yeah, it tells you everything you need to know. So that's why, okay, there may be some hope with this lady. We always have to have hope, of course. But I think that people need to have some perspective and not hang all of their hopes on any politician is all I'm saying. And maybe we'll have a little bit more background on her on Thursday with Jan here.
She's got a background if she's willing to stand with the people, if it's not just a political game that she's playing, because you cannot trust these politicians, Dave. They play political games. They play on people like myself, who's a Brexiteer, who's always been a Brexiteer. Play on our, mate, get in your head. these politicians. That's what they do. But I don't trust them as far as I'm concerned. Never have, never will. But
Well, there you
some
are,
things
Jeff.
that she said, it's like with May, when she first got a position after the old Cinepolis falling on the sword. You know, we thought, well, give her a chance. Yeah, well, it really
Certainly.
was, wasn't he? And I despise him. If I'd have been in Ipswich when David, what's his name, Cameron, was there, it wouldn't have been a very nice meeting. That's all I would say. I'd have probably been arrested, probably shackled and God knows what else, sent to the tower.
There you go.
And all that, but I despised him. He called me, you, Dave. Millions of people who support what we do, the EDL, are sickness in society.
Right.
He called me and you and the rest of the EDLers out there.
It's typical, Jeff.
You know, talking about the EDL, and you know me, I love the EDL, and I've just been amazed lately of how there used to be a lot of negativity, there used to be a lot of infighting, etc. But you've got a lot of respect. People are really respecting the English Defence League now. They know he was right, and a lot of people who wasn't too sure to set on the wall are definitely feeling a nice, that fuzzy feeling about the EDL. So they should. So they should.
There's
We
nothing
are the people.
there. Yeah.
We
there's
are
nothing like
Brexiteers.
that feeling. Yeah.
And yeah, I speak to people all the time. You know, when I get in cab, I'm talking to this Jamaican guy, Bob, and I was talking about, I said, you know, I've run a radio show. He said, yeah, man, the English Defence League, they're really good boys. I said, yeah, I know. I said, I'm one of them. I'm not on the front rank or nothing like that, but, you know, that's how you have the conversations with the people. It's just a people person, like, you know what I mean? And so we've got a demonstration coming up March the 16th, and that's in Wellington. So just a bit of an heads up to all you foot soldiers and patriots out there. God bless you all. Yeah, we've got a demo. Come on, guys. It's not too long before we leave the EU, so it's come right in the middle of that month, doesn't it, Dave? And when that demonstration, people will be putting their feet in the street. Do it, guys. We're very proud. We love you all, and you do an awesome job.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of countries woken up to that fact now, Dave. You know that. The world's woken up to it.
It is. It is, man. This freedom movement is not going to stop, whatever they do.
We've grown. We've sort of really sort of grounded ground sort of thing. And 10 years this year, 2019, 10 years since the English Defence League was born.
That's right. That's right,
so
Jeff.
We'll be celebrating. We're going to have a piss up, aren't we, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, Jeff, I'm going to jump right into my final thoughts because we're very short on time here.
What a show. How quick it's gone. Well done, mate.
Thank you, Jeff. And well done to you, too. It has gone quickly. I just want to say to my Unpleasant Blind Guy listeners that a lot of this may be resolved by the time we do the Thursday show. You guys are going to keep on getting installments of this so that you can get a deeper understanding of what is going on with this Brexit issue. And as I keep on saying, and we'll keep on repeating, this sort of thing will come to the United States of America when it comes to big decisions that the people make. Are the left going to be allowed to snatch away the people's decisions? And that's an important thing. Now, with Jeff's permission, I'm using these segments from the English Defence League radio show to inform people about Brexit, just to make sure that people understand this issue, and also to make sure that they understand the importance of this issue. Make no mistake, this is a big historical event that is going on here, and it is something to watch. The big parliamentary votes will be taking place on Tuesday, so by Thursday, we will have some results for you. Guys, pray up. We can use the help of God in this. And for listeners of The Unpleasant Blind Guy, I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you for listening. May your God go with you, and everyone, please stay tuned. The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2019. Anno Domini. Now for Dave's Canes. Extras that help you navigate the new media world.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunetz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunetz.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
For 50 years, I've seen the American people blinded by corrupt politicians, a lapdog media, and deceptive Islam. The one thing the elites fear is one man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me through Spreaker, iTunes, and SoundCloud, through SHR Media and the Western Free Radio Network, for half a century of experienced perspective on political and social issues, weekly on The Unpleasant Blind Guy. And catch me on Jeff Mitchell's EDL Radio on blogtalkradio.com. There's
no surrender, ever.
Because truth is not always pleasant.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capitol, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic concealed carry and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.